Tonight on The Ronnie Show, well, the Muskies played 3 games over the weekend, this past weekend, and safe to say, some people were happy, some were not, and some just tried to be stupid. All of that coming up right now on The Ronnie Show. And welcome to the Ronnie Show. So glad you could be with us here this evening. We're coming on right before Game 1 of the World Series. So, yeah, and safe to say before we even get to that point a little later on here tonight, we've got some things to talk about, we'll just say. I'll just say that right now. I don't know if a lot of you remember, but towards the end of last year, there was 3 people from Fargo that really got under my skin, and everybody else's. Darius Andres, Ron Gilmore, and Joey Hughes. Well, all 3 of them are back, and they've even added a new member or 2. Safe to say, this might be our craziest episode yet when it comes to those 3 and the couple of new folks. So, yeah, let's go and talk about it. All right, thank you very much. Excuse me, we have such a great audience on this show. We honestly really do. And we appreciate all of you guys for that. Alrighty. We're going to get into it right away because we got a lot to talk about. Quite juicy, I might add. So, as you know, the Muskies played 3 games this weekend. Unfortunately, they lost them all. They couldn't even get a point this weekend towards the standings. So that was really unfortunate, but this week's a new week, and we're still early on in the season, somewhat, but it's starting to become the point where you can't really use that as an excuse as to why you're not playing at your potential. At least I think we're at that point. So we're just going to take you through some posts that were made. As I mentioned, we have those 3 clowns from Fargo making fun of us again, and one of them actually took it to a whole nother level. Like, it was basically probably one step short of a death threat he sent to Musketeers fans. So we're going to unpack all of that right now. So let's get started right away. It starts out on my birthday. The Muskies were in Fargo. And let's pull up the first post. Now, all of these posts are in this group called the USHL Trash Talk. And it's basically a group where, you know, self-explanatory. Other fans basically chirp other fans, basically. And, you know, it's not necessarily, you know, it's just basically roasting people, which that's not that big of a deal. But like I mentioned earlier, one of these roasts was almost basically like a death threat. So we'll cover it, but you also kind of have to be careful on what you say. Plus, you cannot make fun of the admin's team, because there was a controversy a couple of years ago when other teams' fans were making fun of Tri-City because they had, most of you who are part of the hockey community and follow it deeply, you know that there was this player named Mitchell Miller, and he was kind of known as a bully. You can read more about that because it's a crazy story. Well, I mean, he was banning people that, you know, obviously brought that topic up, which is fine, but they also weren't playing very good either. So, and when people were making fun of that, once they got past this one player, he still was basically banning them, taking the post down, and things like that. So, but yeah, anyway, that's a little off topic. So this first post comes from Ryan Hoyland. Now, you probably can't see it very well, but, you know, it's okay, it happens. We're low budget around here. We really, truly are. But it's from Ryan Hoyland, who we're going to add to those 3 clowns of Darius, Ron, and Joey. So, Ryan, you are added to this. It says, sending the rats home to their sewer with the fat L. all is well in Fargo tonight. Well, good for you. Nobody really cares, to be quite honest with you. You know, this didn't break my thick skin. It really didn't. Just because, yeah, hey, we lost. So what? And this was, of course, Thursday night, so we didn't know about what was going to happen the next 2 nights, obviously. So, yeah. I've heard better roasts from dumber people, we'll just say that. So that was the first post. That was at 8:23 p.m. All these times. It's almost kind of like journal diaries. These posts are all Central Time. So, yeah. And then we have to go to the next day, October 17th. This was at 1:25 p.m. Central Standard Time. And basically, as you know, the Muskies, they came out with new jerseys. They were kind of throwbacks to the jerseys they had worn in the mid-'80s. And, of course, Joey Hughes, of all people, he's one of the Fargo Clowns, you know that. He compared our jersey to the Oregon Ducks jerseys. He said, when you order an Oregon Ducks jersey off of Wish. Yeah, so obviously, like I said, I've heard better roasts from a lot dumber people. So that really, and as dumb as Joey is, because he is really dumb, I mean, that really says a lot right there. It really honestly does. Alrighty, so, and it's not even the right shade of green, so I don't even know what he was trying to accomplish with that, but anyway. So, 8:40 p.m. that night, this was during the Musketeers game versus Sioux Falls, and the officiating was not great. We'll just say that. And one of our fans said, Fagan, who's one of the referees, in fact, he's one of the worst in the league, he says, Fagan is into hooking this year. Fagan, you suck. And, you know, this wasn't so bad, necessarily. Fargo fans didn't really have anything much to say about it. Just, you know, he sucks. Sioux City fans were basically complaining about. So, yeah. I mean, nothing too big a deal. In fact, one of our fans said, and someone should inform Coach Kersner that in order to score, the team must shoot. Which shooting, that's not, you know, the amount of shots doesn't really dictate much of anything. Like, yeah, you can say, oh, Sioux City, you know, they didn't take enough shots, this, that, and the other thing. But I don't know if it's really necessarily about just taking shots as, you know, just finding a way to putting them in the back of the net, basically. So, yeah. I mean, you can't just shoot every opportunity you get the puck. So, yeah. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we have got a lot more to unpack. I mean, you think this is tame now, but we're about to get into some crazy stuff. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody, to the show. Well, to the Ronnie show. We are now about to get into some crazy stuff. So, and as you know, the worse, you know, the more the away fans roast the Muskies and, you know, any sort of bad talk or whatever, basically the worse the other team's fans get, the more savage I become, basically. So, anyway, so we're done with Thursday and Friday. Pretty tame nights, but then Saturday, that's when all hell basically broke loose. We'll start at 4:10 p.m., right before the Muskies took on, Tri-City. And this is our first post, and this might be our only one. I don't remember 100%. No, I think there's at least one for sure. And it's from our guy, Darius Andres. And he says this: my daughter was scrolling through this page and was trying to find a player on every team on this page, but she said she couldn't find a player on the Sioux City team. Anyone want to help her out and tell her why? I posted the link in case you want to see for yourself. Now, this is the goalie stats page, what he's showing. And I have to say this, too, before I dig deep more into this. Depending on what category you select, whether it's goals against, save percentage, shutouts, different pages are going to show different things. Different links will on that page. They're going to show different things, different names, all this, that, and the other. Well, obviously, a Sioux City goaltender wasn't on that list. And this is one of the best roasts I've seen in quite some time. And Well, he responded, and this is a Sioux City guy. Well, if she's got the same same crossed eyes as her daddy, I'd be shocked if she could see much of anything. Ooh, damn! Burn, 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 burn. One of the best roasts I've ever heard in my life. And boy, this one guy commented basically he's dying of laughter because when I saw that, I about lost my mind. And I think I was in the middle of class scrolling through my phone because it was a boring lecture when I saw this, and I had to hold back my laughter because it was just so funny. I mean, it really was. Oh my god. And then one of our other Sioux City guys was like, using your daughter for your stupidity is pretty stupid. That fits you very well. Exactly. And the other guy's just like, who cares? Exactly, who cares? I'd rather our team play good. The only statistics I really care about is whether or not my team is winning. So, basically. Alright, and this was 7:52 p.m. Our same guy from Sioux City, he posted Fagin last night, and it was this guy tonight. And his last name's McManus. However, if you take out the M, so it'd be MC, take out the M, and then spell out the rest, I think you can pretty much tell what that spells. And he basically made jokes about that. In fact, I'm not even going to say them because it's... And, of course, our Sioux City guy who's, basically critical of our team, which I think if you're going to be a fan of the team, you really can't. I mean, you can criticize them, but it doesn't make you look like a good fan. I'll just say that. And it says, really not him. Musketeers refuse to shoot the puck. 0 points out of 6 this weekend. And, that enthusiasm that I just showed there, because he wrote them all in all caps. And like I said, the shot total doesn't really matter. All that matters is that your team is playing good and that you get pucks in the back of the net. You find a way to do that. It doesn't really matter what the shots are, really. So, yeah. That's just my opinion. Uh-oh. So there's another post from another USHL group, but it's kind of like the official one, and you can't really have a whole bunch of trash talk on it. And this is from the guy who moderates the whole thing, and he says, hot take, the Iowa DMV thinks Sioux City is the best hockey town in Iowa, as they issued Woodbury County NHL as the first 3 letters of one series of blackout plates. Don't be angry at me if you're from another Iowa city. Complain to the DMV. And that's exactly right. That is exactly right. And this guy from Dubuque said, that's a really bold take. Because you have Des Moines, Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, and us. He's a Dubuque fan, by the way. So I'm not sure about that. And we've been the hottest team since we've came back in 10-11. And I have the records to back it up also. And I think, besides the big markets like Green Bay, Sioux Falls, and Fargo, we outdo them in attendance as well. So I don't buy that claim, especially when you got us and Waterloo who have something to say about that. 2 things. Yes, Dubuque, they've been pretty successful since they came back in the 2010-11 season. However, Waterloo, they've been a stinker team pretty much. Well, the last few years, except not including last year. So I wouldn't quite say that about Waterloo. And when it comes to attendance, I've seen the attendance figures, and I'll just say this. We're above Des Moines in terms of what the average attendance has been this year so far for the home games. And I think for quite a few years that's been the case because they play in a much smaller venue that doesn't seat as many people as the Tyson, obviously. I think the Tyson Event Center is only one of a handful of leagues, or one of a handful of teams that have arenas that, are basically a true arena for the most part. Because they're multiple stories, they've got suites and things like that. Well, I'll just say this. Des Moines, Waterloo, I'm not 100% sure about Cedar Rapids, but I think they're included too, and Dubuque. They don't have anything luxurious when it comes to their arenas. So, yeah, I'm not... And besides, attendance, I mean, yeah, I'm sure the team really cares, but I don't really care, to be quite honest. Attendance, so what? I mean, at least for me. As long as I'm there, that's all I really care about, obviously. So, yeah. Okay. 8:19 p.m. It's our guy, Ron Gilmore. No wins for Iowa teams in Fargo this weekend. It was just that simple. One sentence. Because, of course, he had to point it out because he's a moron. Of course he did, right? Came out with points, though. That's better than Sewer City accomplished and much better than recent history for the Bucks. And, of course, you know, this guy, he must be from Des Moines if he's talking like that, because there's no way. In fact, here, I'm looking up, not telling you his name or anything. Oh, see, he's a moron, because he's trying to say that Des Moines is better than Sioux City, which I'm not, you know, we haven't seen Des Moines yet. Oh, wait, yes, we have. Why? Who am I kidding? But Des Moines is a very beatable team. I'll just say that. They're a very beatable team. So, yeah, basically. All right, so we move ahead. 8:49 p.m. Now, this is where things get a little juicy, because one of our home fans said, "Can't believe I need to say this to people from my own town, but I guess we can all benefit from this reminder. A at the hockey game is not a reason to verbally assault an innocent bus driver." I agree. If you're in Sioux City for a game and you see the visiting team's bus driver getting hassled, either intervene or find someone who will. Those guys are responsible for getting these kids home safely, and the last thing they need is a belligerent moron screaming at them for something they had absolutely nothing to do with. Personally, I agree, because he is probably the only person from that team that doesn't do anything on the ice. His decisions don't reflect what goes on the ice. So I agree with that. However, when I saw this post, I got really, really scared. Because when I went to dinner on Saturday night, well, first I picked up my dinner and then I went to a gas station, just, you know, obviously fill up gas and, you know, things like that so I could come back up here. Well, I had made a video, and clearly it was a joke. I was just joking around, you know. I didn't actually mean what I said. And that's something you have to realize, is that the things I say and these takes that I do, they're just meant for entertainment, you know. They're not meant to be taken seriously. I mean, sometimes I don't even believe in some of the things I say. I mean, it's just, you know, for entertainment purposes. And not everybody, and I can definitely attest to it, not everybody likes it. Even in my own family. That's all I'm going to say. But it is just strictly for entertainment purposes. At least when I talk about Sioux City. When I do other things, you know, then obviously I take them seriously. But when it comes to Sioux City sports and things like that, anything I say, don't take seriously, please. Anyway. I posted this video on Snapchat about 30 minutes after this post was made. Take a look. Goodbye. I hope you have a safe trip home. I would say not, but I at least have some humanity inside me. So basically, that video was what this guy was trying to tell me not to do. And I didn't even mention the bus driver. I basically just said the team. You know, I was telling the team, you know, goodbye, assholes. And, you know, obviously, like I said, that was just directed at the team. It wasn't directed at the bus driver. It was the team. But obviously, I said, you know, what I said right there at the end. So, yeah. But, you know, like I said, final time I'm going to say it. Whenever I make fun of the other team or other players on the team or whatever, don't take it seriously. Please, please, please. Do not take it seriously, because I'm just having that, you know, covering Sioux City sports is really the only time I could be a fan of a team. And a lot of fans think exactly how I do. I mean, if you're passionate about a certain team, you have the same exact thoughts as I do. for the most part. I kind of take things to the extreme end, but I love doing that. You know, I think it's fun. And if you're taking it seriously, well, don't. Because it's not that big of a deal. It really is not. And yeah, basically other people said blah, 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 blah. Whole bunch of other stuff. Nobody was really defending Sioux City, but they were basically saying, you know, oh, we had a bad experience in Sioux City because of a couple of fans. Well, that's got nothing to do with the damn bus driver. Like, that's got nothing to do with what the post was about. And that drives me freaking insane when you change the topic on a certain post. If you don't need to. I mean, it's just really stupid. So then later on, whoops, I kind of have, oh wait, no, because I went back, that's why. So then we head to early Sunday morning. Sunday morning at 7:29 a.m. Central Standard Time. So our friend from Sioux City, Brian is his name. He's made several of the posts here. And he says, I know Sioux City lost, but I have a question for Tri-City. How do you miss 3 shots at an open net? That just amazed me. That they missed 3 empty net shots in a row, even when they were 10, 15 feet from their own empty net. They still missed all 3 of them. That is just insane. And I hope that's one of their drills they do at practice now, trying to fire at an empty net, because clearly they can't do it. I mean, you saw how amazed I was right at the end. And I have a theory, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes after we take our next commercial, about, if you remember, there was those, well, I'll get into that when we get there. But, yeah. And then this guy from Tri-City, bless his soul, he says, how does every other team? That makes no sense, because he's a Tri-City fan, and Tri-City missed 3 empty net shots in a row, and he says, he's basically saying that every other team does this. No, they don't. They literally do not. I know Sioux City hasn't done it this year. I know that they haven't missed 3 empty net shots, at least from that close a distance, because I think the first one was like, you know, from center or a little bit beyond that, and it went wide. And then the last 2 were about 10 or 15 feet away, and they missed. One of them went wide, and the other one hit the post. So, yeah, how does every other team? Well, that doesn't make sense, because not every other team does that, you dummy. And there was one comment that he had put down, this Dan guy from Tri-City, and it just made no sense grammatically at all. Like, I had a hard time, and I tried finding it so I could showcase it, but I just could not find it. And like I said, it made like no grammatical sense at all. Like, you had to basically decode what he was trying to say. I mean, it was just friggin' stupid. And people think we're dumb. Sioux City fans are dumb. Like, no. No. All right, I think we will get to one more, and then we'll get to a commercial break. So, yeah. So, of course, Joey Hughes, this guy from Fargo, he said this. Justin is this guy's name, and Justin is kind of like me. He loves to trash talk, make fun of the other teams, their players, stuff like that, almost in the same vein as I do, basically. And he said, just checking on you during the Muskies' 4-game losing streak. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? Oh, is this guy from... I thought this guy... Okay, so this guy's from Sioux City, and he basically made fun of another Sioux City fan. You realize how stupid you have to be to do that? He said he's still fat and annoying like Darius. I think... No, okay, now that I read this, I think he was actually referring to Joey Hughes, because he is... I've seen his profile. He is kind of a bigger guy like I am, so... Yeah, I think that's what the case was on that, but I'm really not 100% sure. I don't know. I don't think we're gonna... Oh. Okay, no, we are gonna take a break, because when we come back, we're gonna talk about the most disgusting the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. Basically, it's the one I've been hinting at this whole show. So yeah, stay tuned. We'll be right back with that. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody, to the show. I just want to make a couple of quick announcements before we move on to what you've all been waiting for this whole entire episode. We have made a trade with Omaha, the Muskies have, and we have sent George Lovell to Omaha in exchange for Dakota Bailey. So he'll be joining our team this weekend. The Muskies will be back Saturday and Sunday versus Youngstown. We won't be in Sioux City Saturday night, but we will be on Sunday afternoon. Of course, I have that stupid thing I need to go to get a grade in for one of my classes. I mean, we already talked about that, in a previous Ronnie show. So go back a couple and you'll see it. And so, yeah, although it's sounding like, the first, because it's from 4 to 5:30, I guess the first, 40 or 45 minutes or so is supposed to be, the actual presentation. And then if you want to, you can stay after for questions and answers and what have you. So there is a chance that I probably could go down to Sioux City if I wanted to and make it in time for the game, but and I actually thought maybe I would do that on Saturday when I first found that out today, but then just thinking about it, I think it will probably be better time-wise and broadcasting-wise if I stayed here. So that's what we're going to do. I'm still going to do play-by-play because it is a home game after all, but it'll just be in here in our studio. So, yeah. Alrighty, so, and another thing, on the next episode of the Ronnie Show, next Friday night, the Explorers released their schedule yesterday as I'm filming this. So, we're going to do the whole schedule. We're going to, release it to all of you. I don't think we'll have a broadcast schedule for that necessarily, but the system that we did this year with the X's, I think worked pretty darn good. So I think we'll bring it back. So we'll have the list of games, obviously, but in terms of what times the first pitches and things like that, then, yeah. So here we go. Here is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. And this guy is from Fargo. We did find out. He is from Fargo. And he made one of the most disgusting posts I've ever seen in my life, making fun of Sioux City. I mean, it's disgusting. It's flat out disgusting because it brings to light something that is still quite an issue in society. And I kind of hesitated about including this, but I think, it's whatever. It's whatever. So, I mean, obviously, this isn't a real thing. I'm not sure he wishes this on anybody, but just the way he came off, he came off like an So, he says, I think the Muskie fans' blood alcohol level is higher than their winning percentage. Our winning percentage is .389. Now, if we're talking legal terms when it comes to alcohol, that's a very, very high blood alcohol level. Well, I looked it up, and most of the time, if you have a blood alcohol level above a 0.4, that's basically fatal at that point. It's basically fatal. Anything above that. And our winning percentage is .389. It's not that much of a difference. So I basically took that as almost like a death threat to Sioux City fans. That is just absolutely disgusting and diabolical. That cannot happen. I get it. You want to make fun of teams fans, trash talk. It's the point of the group. Fine. But, when you bring up an issue that, something like this, basically being drunk driving, all of that, that crosses a line. That really crosses a line. And basically, like I said, in this case, when I looked that up and I saw it wasn't very far away, that's how I perceived it, as a death threat. So, it's just, It's just one of those things that you can't do. Morally, it's not right. It really isn't. I mean, I get he was trying to be fun and, do something like that, but there's a million other ways he could have done this without bringing up somebody being drunk and being basically put in a situation where they could be killed. This is shameful. It is shameful. I'm surprised nobody really called them out on this. I'm surprised. I really am surprised. And somebody did call him out, and it basically, the comment says, apparently Sioux City lives rent-free in any and every Fargo fan's head because holy is basically what he said. That is what he said. And that's 100% true. Fargo, oh, we can't even show that, what this guy said. So we're going to go back to here. I'll just say this. There's a lot more people from Fargo. I will say this. To all the fans that trash talk about us in like these forums, these groups, the majority of these people come from Fargo when they make fun of, because we have maybe a person or two, or maybe not even a person from all the other teams in the league who like to make fun of us. But Fargo is easily the worst. I mean, you saw that last post. It's ridiculous. They're taking things now too far, in my opinion. They're taking it too far. And you might think, I'm just a crazy, mad, basically fan and, saying to get over it. But that's not the point. The point is that stuff like that, when you basically say our blood alcohol level is higher than our winning percentage, and to a point where it's a small gap between us being alive and us probably dying from it. I mean, that is just disgusting. That is just disgusting, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens this upcoming week. As I mentioned, we're going to have another episode of the Ronnie Show anyway next Friday. In fact, we might have one every Friday from now on. We'll see. If this keeps up, we definitely will have enough content for that. So, yeah, it's just, I'm okay with trash talking, but it's now getting taken too far from the Fargo end of things. It's just getting too far now. So, and I'm going to continue to call it out right here on RVN because that's what we do around here. That is us when we are at our best, is making fun of other teams in the USHL for how stupid they are, basically. So, yeah. And everybody thinks Sioux City fans and the team are all that. They basically think we're all stupid. So, yeah. I mean, treat others the way you want to be treated. It's that simple. Keep it simple, stupid, as they say. So, yeah. Okay, so just in editing this show, I realized that I forgot to give you my theory as to why those two fans from Tri-City were all of a sudden just standing right behind me for the last half of the third period of the last game. And I think the reason is that just looking at the viewership from that game, I think, and, obviously all the other games I've done for Musketeers, I think he's seen me before, and he's seen how I broadcast and how I like to make fun of the other team and do all that. So I think because of that, he wanted to basically shut me up so I wouldn't say anything bad, or at least, not so loudly like I usually do. So yeah, like I said, that's just a theory. I don't know if that's really true or not, because he could have stood behind anybody, but he just chose me. So yeah, back to the show. We'll take a break. We'll wrap things up after this. Welcome back, everybody. Well, what did we learn here tonight? It's that Fargo fans, they are freaking crazy. Like, this is even crazier than last season was. And you knew basically every show last season, well, from pretty much late March through early May. I mean, you saw how crazy that got with Fargo fans. But what happened this weekend, holy cow. I mean, and we're just at the start of the season. Who knows how bad this could potentially get? But like I said, we're going to cover it all right here on the Ronnie Show, because, you know, and on RVN in general, because that is us at our best, like I said, calling out rude people like those Fargo fans. So, yeah. We'll see y'all next time. And coming up next, we've got Game 1 of the World Series. The Dodgers and the Blue Jays. It's going to be a good series, I have a feeling. So, yeah, we will see you for that in just a moment. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you very much.